Hi, I'm Maria Thea Harris or Velosos on social media. Thanks for watching and listening to Sober 50 podcast on Soul Organized Style. Today's guest is Isabella, and you'll find her on Instagram at underscore to me. She's written a book called Mindful Macrame. It's actually not just a how-to of macrame. There's a story behind it, and there was a change that happened in her life which made her, well, she'll describe what she's gone through in this podcast. Grab a cuppa and relax with us. Isabella, thank you for coming on to the podcast for Sober 50 for So Organized Style. I'm really glad that we could come up with a time that suits both of us.
I know, and really, really excited. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. I was really pleased when your publisher contacted me and said, "Oh, are you interested?" And I thought, I think so. It sounds really interesting. And then when I did my research, I'd seen your video for the Making Zen online retreat, and I thought, that's where I've seen Isabella before.
Oh, yeah, I love this connection. I absolutely love it.
Can you tell us where you're from and what got you started in macrame?
So I'm originally from Italy, but I'm part Italian and part Japanese. And when I was 18, I moved to the UK. That's where I did my degree in interior architecture, start working, and met my husband. And then we moved to Australia in Melbourne for 3 years. Then we moved to Dubai, Belgium, back to Dubai, Italy, and then finally, after 13 years, back to the UK. And that's when I started, when I had my children, two girls. I was working full time as a senior interior designer, and I had very little time for myself and creativity. And even though I was in a creative industry, it's very different when you work for somebody else and you have client that really didn't align to my style. And so I found myself in a very frustrated place where I just could not let this creativity out of my body. And so I came up with this idea of learning 12 craft in 12 months because I knew I wanted to do something creative as a hobby, but I didn't know what was my hobby, what did I like. So I thought, well, if I try something new every month, then for sure I'm gonna find something that my passion. And it just happened that macrame was my first craft. And I just loved it. From the first knot, I knew that I had a connection with this craft and absolutely loved it. I did end up finishing the 12 crafts, but macrame was a constant for all those 12 months. And in fact, after 6 months that I was after I've learned it, people start asking me to teach. And that's when I start doing in the evening, at the weekend, and that's when my macrame journey started, really.
So you were working full time and you're looking after a young family, and you'd moved a bunch of countries, and yet you still found time for yourself and focused on macrame because that's where the connection was for you.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think at that time, um, I kind of had to make a decision. I remember thinking, when you come back home after a full day, you feed the kids, you put them to bed, you clean the kitchen, you're exhausted. So usually you end up watching something on TV. And I made a decision at that point that instead of watching TV, I will just start on this journey. And it was a big decision, because it's just it just was just part of the habit, to
Yeah.
just sit down and watch TV. And instead of saying, no, I need to do this for myself. And once you make that decision, you're already halfway there, right? And
Yeah.
then maybe it was my luck that my first craft was macrame, and I just fell in love with it and I just could not stop. So, yeah.
Brilliant. You're very goal driven. Even to try and find an interest for yourself, you had the goal of, let me try 12 in 12 months, and you did it. It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I made myself accountable because I started a blog online, um, and I started the Instagram account then, and I thought if I say, into the online world that I'm doing this, then and people start following me, then I have to stick with it. I can't just leave it. And yeah, and I think that really, really helped.
Right. So in my research, you've already published three macrame books already before Mindful Macrame. One was Macrame for the Modern Home, Macrame Jewellery, and Macrame Christmas. What makes Mindful Macrame different to those three books?
In a way, it's completely different. It's a
Mm.
completely different approach. I didn't want it to be a craft book. So the
Yeah.
first three are solely craft book for people that want to learn macrame or they want to try different project. Mindful macrame is a tool for people that want to find mindfulness through the art of knotting. So through creativity. So it's a book for anyone. So if you never done any craft, if you never done macrame, maybe you never even heard of macrame, you can pick that book. And it's a very simple project that anyone can do. And the way I've designed the project, they will only use one or two knots.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you lose yourself in the rhythm of knotting. So you learn one knot and then you repeat the same knot over and over again to create a project. So you can lose yourself in the flow. And so every project has been designed intentionally to get you to a state of creative flow.
Okay. And for people who haven't seen the book yet, I've had a look at it and it's now out and available.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say was very recently, my background is Cypriot, and I took my husband to Cyprus, and I was looking at some of the projects in the book, and they have a very Mediterranean feel. So I thought I would just mention that because I really love that.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad that you could see that side. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think my
Uh,
Italian influence helped me with the designs. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
all of the work in there and the photos that are in the book, they're all your work. So you didn't have someone come in and do specific photos. This is all from Isabella.
Yes, so the only photo that I didn't take that someone helped me is my the photos of myself. But
Yeah.
Stacy, who's the lady who came, she's absolutely, she managed to capture my uh, me, and I love those photos. Yeah.
So the two people that you mention in your book, Mindful Macrame, is your sister Clara
Yes.
and also your friend Simone.
Yes, so my sister is because I wanted to dedicate one book to her. We have a very, very close relationship, and and I wanted this to be for her. So all the other books are dedicated to my family, my children, my followers, and I thought this is perfect for my sister, and also because she is a mother too. She's gone through the same that very similar journey, which a lot of other women can relate.
Yeah.
Get lost and then trying to find yourself having kids. So I thought this would be a perfect, a gift for her. And Simone, I met her in Dubai. She is an absolutely inspiring woman, and I feel so lucky to have her as a friend. And when I've asked her, she's got such a busy schedule. She speaks everywhere, and when I ask her to write the foreword, she says, "Of course, Isabella." And I think what I love about Simone is she is incredibly driven, incredibly intelligent, and yet she's also very creative. She paints and she always makes sure that she has creative time in as a, in her busy lifestyle. So she was a perfect person to write this book, to
And
write the forward for the book.
you describe the book as supporting people's general healthy well-being. When you started writing the book, was that your key motivation?
Yes, the key motivation was mindfulness. So create a tool um, for mindfulness through creativity because you know, and this happens to me sometimes, especially at the beginning when I start to meditate and connected a little bit more with my inner wisdom and my inner self. Sometimes it's difficult to meditate. You sit there and there's like a million thoughts coming into your head. But what I've realized as soon as I did mindfulness that I could really, I call it yoga for the mind. For me, I can really go into that flow state where I can just focus in what I do. And that's a lot of the time when idea comes in my head. It's a bit like when you have a shower or you're driving,
Mm.
and then all these ideas because you're focusing on one thing and your mind kind of quiets and you can start hearing the ideas. And also doing workshops, loads of people all the time, they will say, oh my God, this is so mindful. I absolutely love it. So I knew it wasn't helping just me, but it was helping other people's. And through the pandemic, I got emails after emails of women telling me how it had helped them with loneliness, to keep them busy, to build their confidence. And so I knew the power of mindfulness, and that's why this book was born. It was born out of all my own experience, but the experience of other people working with macrame.
So now that you've taught a lot of people, and this podcast is developed for the Say Over 50 community, you say that that macrame is works for everybody. As you get older, there's always eyesight challenges, challenges with moving your hands and memory. In what way have you seen macrame help people who have those challenges as they're getting older?
Yeah, I have a lot of my followers and people that buy my book that are over 50. I think well, there's many things, so I'm just going to go through.
Okay.
Usually the people that are over 50 remember macrame from the childhood. Perhaps they've done it at school. It was very popular in the 70s, 60s,
Yes.
70s, early 80s. So they have that memory. The biggest difference, I would say, material-wise compared to the 60s and 70s, 80s, is that now, back then they would use like jute, it would be a brown, really rough materials. These days you can use cotton, so it's very soft with your hand. You can even use bamboo. So definitely it's much gentler to the hand. The other thing, you can get different thickness. So you will see in the book that I will use some really thin, yeah, string or cord, but also like really thick. So depends on your ability with your hands and how tactile you are. You can use thicker cord or thinner cord.
Hmm.
Macrame is very versatile. The same project, you can do it with thinner cord or you can do it with bigger cord. So it's very flexible in that way. And also books like my books, and I think that's why they are so popular, is because I'll take step-by-step pictures.
Hmm.
So you can do it once. You don't have to memorize it. You don't have to read pattern. That's what I find sometimes frustrating when I do knitting or crochet. It's only words, and and then it's the American version, the English version. And I find it really frustrating. So that's why my books are step-by-step pictures. You can do it. You don't have to memorize it. You can go back. You can look at the pictures as a reference. So it makes it really, really easy. And I think that's one of the feedback I get from my book is I love the fact that it's a step-by-step pictures. And if you want to read just the words, you can. But if you're more visual like me, you can look at the pictures and follow those.
That seeing each of the projects, and you have all of the pictures there with the steps, what you need, but you've also got the notes, the journaling as well to go with each one.
Yes.
Is Did you develop the journal side of it based on your experience?
Yes. So for me to find mindfulness, and I will use macrame. I also do breathing exercise and journaling. So this is something that I use regularly. So I wanted to bring those three tools together, and also to kind of ground ourselves. Before starting a project, I think it's really, really important. And the journaling was something, I think, especially if you start mindfulness and you never done it or you're very new to it, it's a bit like guided meditation. It's easier to go into a meditative state when you have a guided meditation than do it all on your own. So the book was the same. It's a guidance. So there's like notes of things that you could reflect on while you do macrame. You don't have to, in the book I say you can use it as you want, in the order that you want. But those are hints that, if you want, are there for you to help you find mindfulness while you do the project.
And I mean, towards the back of the book, you've got all of the basic knots there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Again,
yeah.
step-by-step pictures of the knot. So you can just practice the knot. Then when you feel confident, go into the project. And yes.
It explained what the mindfulness was. The journaling was there for every project. The technical information was there for people who haven't done knotting before, and the colours and the way you put it together reflects that mindfulness that you're trying to make sure people understand with the book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, good. I'm glad. That's really good feedback.
no problem. So, from your perspective, what are your three favourite projects in the book for people to take note of if they're having a look at it?
Oh, I love all of them, but I'll try to pick three. The book is divided in three sections, and that's again to kind of help people with the mindfulness. I wanted to create some project that took less than 30 minutes, some project that took less than 60, and then some that take longer. So people can start, especially if this is their first time you're doing macrame, with the quicker project, and then kind of build your confidence to do longer. But also for me was the idea that you can do mindful macrame anywhere. So if you do, for instance, a project that takes under 30 minutes, you can do it while you wait for your kids to finish the sport club, or maybe you're commuting on the train, or you're on a plane journey. You can just take the materials, the book with you, and you can do it anywhere. So from the under 30 minutes, what I like is the car diffuser. So it's a very, very simple project. It's actually, two knots. But then you can also add essential oil and keep it in your car. And it's a great way to add an extra sensory, touch to the project. And you can see it every day. And it kind of reminds you that, one, you are creative, and two, maybe a reminder to be mindful. From the under 60 minutes, I like the classic plant hanger. It's done with these two colors, so it's a version of the classic plant hanger. So that is
Yeah.
really good, especially if you love plants. Less is the classic macrame project, so I love that. And for the longer project, I like the basket, and the basket could be used for anything from pot holder. You can put your craft in there. You can put toilet bowls. You can put, your socks. It's such a versatile project. I love that project.
That project was the one of the key ones that had a very Mediterranean feel to it for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful project. And when you look at the book, there's a shorter version which is just the coaster, or you can build to it and then turn it into a beautiful basket. So yeah.
Lovely. Well, thanks for sharing the three that you like. And
Thank
I'm
you.
sure that our listeners and viewers, when they get the book, they'll have their top three as well.
Yeah, and please come and share it with me. You can contact me via my website or my Instagram handle, and I'd love to hear from you.
Isabella, thank you for coming onto the podcast for Sober 50 today on Soul Organized Style.
Thank you so much.
I'm new to macrame, but through what I've seen of your work, they're very fun pieces. They don't seem to be complex and they look really pretty and versatile.
Yes. Yes. You just described it perfectly.
Thanks, Isabella. And look, I'm really pleased that I could meet you today too.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks, Isabella.
Bye.
This episode of Soul Organized Style Podcast for Sober 50 was video and audio produced by me, Maria Thea Harris, in my sewing room with permission of Isabella. Sound by bensound.com. If you'd like to support the production of Soul Organized Style Podcast, pop over to Patreon. Make sure you direct message Sandy on Sober 50 to support their challenges and posts. Go back through the podcast archive to hear and see more people from the sewing community. There are over 470 episodes to listen to. I look forward to being with you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.